and welcome to the Downseller Studio YouTube channel. My name is Jen and I'm your host here and also on the Downseller Studio audio podcast. I am here to share with you today my Stash Dash projects for the summer of 2022. If you are not familiar, Stash Dash is a knit along hosted by the Knit Girls, and it is a lot of fun. This year it ran from May 27th through the end of August, so the 31st. And the goal is to set the number of meters that you plan to get out of your stash by the end of the summer and to try to meet or exceed your goal. Well, that's what I do. Although I also challenge my friend Jasmine. We have an annual competition where we try to beat each other, which is not the intent of this event, but we've kind of done our own little takeoff and we have a lot of fun with it. So over the course of this video and another one, I'm going to share all of what I made and what my final standings are and where the chips landed for this year. I did also do a series of videos like this last year where each month I shared my finished objects during Stash Dash. So feel free to check those out if you haven't already. It's a lot of fun. For this year, I'm going to break it up into two different videos because I had 32 finished projects and I thought that would be a lot to share with you in one video. So we are going to divide that up into two. All right, without further ado, let's dive right in and tackle some of the projects. I've broken these out completely randomly. It's not dependent on when I finish them or what kind of project. I just tried to mix up different knitting and crochet and spinning projects to keep it interesting across these videos. So I hope you enjoy. But we are going to start with the very first project that I finished for Stash Dash, which I don't have because I left it behind in Spain, which is where I was on the first day of Stash Dash. I was finishing up 2 weeks away. I went to Ireland and Scotland and Spain, and on the last leg of that trip I was visiting my friend Marta, and I finished a pair of Patton's Croy socks in the Geranium Colors colorway that I left behind for her. As you will see from the pictures that I'm inserting here, she really enjoyed them, and because her son had been stealing the last pair that I left for her, she decided when I gave her the new ones to give him her original pair of Patton's Croy socks so that he has his own and she has her own. So that was a really fun way to start the event. I just had like one toe to finish up anyways, so I finished that up on the first day of Stash Dash, and that was my first win, which got me 253.8 meters. So off to a good start. Now we're going in totally random order. Next up, I have another pair of socks. These beauties are out of Hypnotic Yarn, which came in one of my Yarnable subscription boxes. I am a Yarnable affiliate. I really love the Yarnable yarn, which is from Hypnotic Yarns. Cheryl of Hypnotic is a wonderful, very talented dyer. This is the Pumpkin Patch colorway, which I think was September of 2021. So yeah, I really enjoy these. I like kind of that spiral pooling, kind of micro stripey, depending on how it knits up. I use 56 stitches cuffed down with the OMG heel by Megan Williams for all of my socks. So these ones got me 264 meters for Stash Dash. Moving on to another pair of socks. This is a pair of another hand-dyed yarn. This is from Woolens and Nosh. It is the Mr. Fezziwig colorway, which is a Christmas Carol reference. And it's a self-striping with a mini that she gave us for cuffs, heels, and toes. So yeah, really great Christmas socks. I think this is a Corriedale base. It is a little bit toothier, but in the best possible way. Yeah, I really like these ones. Those were 238 meters. So that's about my norm for socks, 230 to 250 or 260 meters for a pair of socks. I wear a women's 9 shoe, as do my mom and my best girlfriends wear like an 8.5, and we all wear the same size socks, which is really handy. So I try to do about a 9 or a 9.5 inch foot and about the same for the leg, and I can get that out of about 60 grams of yarn usually. All right, let's move on to something bigger. This was, I think this might have actually been the first blanket that I did for this year. This is a crochet blanket. The pattern is called Cozy Clusters Baby Blanket by Lily Knits, but it is a crochet blanket. Let's see if you can see these clusters here. Yep. The teal color is the Knit Picks Brava worsted. It was one of their big skeins, like the 500 gram skeins of yarn. And then I used some gray, which I think was also Knit Picks Brava, and then I added this border in this really fun neon yarn. This is Craft Smart Neon Value Yarn from Michaels. And I just thought it would be really fun to have a bold pop of color and to add all these little crochet baubles. I love it so much. I started making this, and I'm trying to remember the timing. It was either just before or just after I learned that a coworker of mine was having a baby. So this is going to she and her husband, and I'm really excited about how fun this is. It makes me want to put these little crochet baubles on everything. So once I did this, this was 1,095.2 meters for Stash Dash. So that was a huge win, and it's a great size baby blanket. And then I had to do another one. I just had so much fun with this cluster pattern. I couldn't resist continuing on. And so this year I really did want to get through some of the stash that was in my cabinet. And I had a lot of Knit Picks Felici self-striping yarn that I haven't been using. It was in colors that I wasn't totally in love with, but I didn't hate them either, but they were never getting onto the needles. And I was like, I need to use them up. So I ended up grabbing 3 different colorways, either 5 or 6 of the 50-gram skeins, and holding a double with just some cream Knit Picks Brava yarn. And the effect is really cool. You can see that the colors, when held double with the white, they don't get all the way across the row, but it's all the same kinds of colors. Just keep going here. We've got blues and yellows and orange and rusty kind of colors and browns and blacks. And it just, I really, really enjoy the way that it came out. There you can see the clusters a little bit better. So yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's a nice, thick, squishy blanket. It would be a great like play on the floor mat for a baby who's maybe, you know, rolling over or crawling around. There's not a lot of air between the stitches, but you can still see through it, which is a nice option for babies. So you don't worry if they put it over their head that they might suffocate themselves. So that's always nice. This is using that same pattern, the Cozy Clusters from Lily Knits, and I really love this. And this one used 2,505 meters because, again, you're holding a worsted weight doubled with the fingering weight yarn. And it's a really cool effect, and I'm so grateful to have all of that yarn out of my stash. Let's make some room for some other projects here. All right, let's do another blanket and then we will switch gears. Apparently I'm all about the clusters. This is sort of a variation on a theme, I guess, with this one. This one is the Tiles for Miles blanket, which is a free pattern from Yarnspirations. How cool is that? For this one, I used this kind of seafoam color, was a very large skein of Knit Picks Bravo worsted, and I forget what the exact colorway name was. But the cool thing about this blanket is that you never have to cut that main color. You can carry it all the way up with you. So that is always nice. It's nice to be able to minimize the weaving in of ends. Then the other smaller ones, see I did 2 rows for each of the contrast colors. Those were all done with Brava minis that were, I think they're 25 grams. They come in these cute little skeins that are ready to go. And I did the width of this so that I could make sure I could get up and back with that one and not have too much left over. So it was a great way to use up all different blues and greens from that set. I didn't pick any of the colors in advance. I just kind of did it as I went, and then I made up my own border to do around the edging, just a little bit of something to kind of contain it. Really happy with this one. This is a gift for my friend Amber, who just had her first baby boy. She's got 3 girls, and now she's got a boy, and I figured do something a little bit different for her. All right, should we switch gears again and go back to socks? Next up, I have a pair of beautiful self-striping socks from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. I can't tell you how much I love these socks. This is the Love Letters colorway from Fiber Nymph Dye Works on the Mountain Tweed BFL base. Do you see all of that tweedy goodness? I can't say enough good things about these. I saw this colorway when my friend Sarah Jordan knit a pair, and I said, I need to have that yarn. Where did you get it? And she said it was from Fiber Nymph. I messaged Lisa, the dyer, and she said, I only put it out at Valentine's Day. You'll have to get it then. And I said, okay, great. I'm probably going to forget, but I will get it in February. And then before she put the listing up in February, she messaged me to say, hey, I think you wanted this colorway. And I said, I sure do. And I went out and bought it. It took me a little bit to get them on the needles, but yeah, I'm very excited about these. As you might be able to see, I did also buy some minis in the Mountain Tweed, which is what I used here for the heel and the toe. Apparently I forgot on the second sock that I had done that, so the heels don't match, but I definitely don't care. That kind of thing doesn't really bother me. So yeah, these were just a really fun make on a different kind of base. For these ones, I got 232 meters out of my stash. Then back to self-striping, but a commercial yarn. This is some Knit Picks Felici in the Psychedelic Sunset colorway. How fun is that? And I used a mini skein left over from my stash, which I think was Lemonade Shop. Can you see the little pops of neon in the gray there? So I did that for the heels and the toes, and I'm very happy with how these ones came out. I'm not sure who these are for, but I'm not sure I can part with them. I do gift a lot of socks, but some I just really feel the need to keep. So the love letter ones are definitely mine. These ones, TBD, but they got me 252.7 meters for Stash Dash. Very fun. These would be great pride socks, right? Love them. Okay. For something different, I knit tons and tons of socks every year and have for many years, but this next thing is something I've never made before, and it is a necktie. Basically, it's a giant rectangle because that's what my friend wanted. It is not a pointed tie as sometimes you see with a more traditional look. It is a tie done in garter stitch. It's knit lengthwise with some short rows to make this part wider than the upper end of it. I knit this out of Knit Picks Stroll in one of their kind of tweed bases. Forget the name of the colorway. It's just a nice gray. My friend wanted something neutral. I finished this up. Dan tried to tie it and he was like, I think this is going to be too long. And lo and behold, I got a message from her the next day saying the tie that she likes is about 53 inches long and this is over 60 inches long. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet, which is why I didn't weave in the ends, because there is a chance that I might rip this out and repurpose the yarn. If I can tie it and an adult man can use it, then I will keep it. Either way, I will knit another one for my friend. But I think that this yarn is just too kind of loose and drapey. As you can see, it's just really, really drapey here. And I'm not sure that's the best use for a tie, especially if you need to actually be able to tie it well. It might look a little messy. So we will see. It is done. It was a cool experiment. The pattern is called Tweed Tie by Jem Weston. It's a paid for pattern. I did have to modify it to make the squared off bottom, which was very easy to do just by removing the increases and decreases that form that bottom point. So not at all hard to modify, but I am going to need to maybe go down a needle size and very likely switch the kind of yarn, maybe for a non-superwash yarn when I make another tie. But pretty cool. If you've ever knit a tie and have any tips for me, I would love it if you comment down below. If you have any comments about any of these projects, I would appreciate it if you comment down below. It's always fun to see what you guys think of these projects. Oh, meterage on the tie, 126.6 meters. So not a very big project, but it also didn't take a lot of time. It was a great take along on the train kind of project because it was very small and portable. All right, speaking of small and portable, I've got a bunch of stuff in my old basket here. Let's move these for now, and we'll show you some cozies. I always like to crochet up some cozies in the summertime, and we use them a lot for various different things. So this is the moisturizer that I tend to use on my hands. It's great for eczema. I'm not a doctor. I don't pretend to be, but this is what my dermatologist said might work for me, and it does. And I don't necessarily want to look at that packaging, so I don't. So I made a little cozy. This is basically a takeoff on my ball band with a twist pattern, which is a crochet pattern. I think it's maybe $2 on Ravelry. And I just did this section, which is meant to be just the bottom of a taller cozy, for the whole thing because I really liked the look of it. So yeah, this is just great to have various points around our house. We've got that lotion out and about. That one used Lily Sugar and Cream yarn and used about 40 meters. This one, because I was so into the clusters, and apparently I'm into like this this color scheme. We'll talk more about that blanket in the next video. I just totally made up like a little cluster cozy with some single crochet on top. I don't particularly love it. I don't hate it. It's fine. It's a cozy. We drink out of these 16-ounce ball jars a lot. I really like this size. And so I'm always glad to have another cozy in the rotation. It helps keep condensation from getting all over the tables and creating rings and all of that good stuff. So this one is Lion Brand Re-Up yarn. It's basically a take off of my ball band cozy, which is a free crochet pattern on Ravelry and Lovecrafts. And this one was 35.4 meters. All right, we got a couple more cozies. Let's do the rainbow one next. This one's really fun. This is what my ball band with a twist cozy looks like, except it doesn't call for switching colors all this many times. I did that just as a fun takeoff. I have a tall one like this with white instead of gray that I really love. This is mostly the Lion Brand Re-Up recycled cotton yarn with, I think, maybe one other color. I think that green is from another brand, but either way, black on the bottom. Love it. That one, let's see. Don't have on here, but it's probably about 40 meters. And last but not least for the cozies, we've got just a regular gray cozy that I was trying to use up some small scraps of yarn. So I've got like little stripes of the cream in there. And yeah, that's another takeoff on my ball band pattern, Lion Brand Re-Up yarn. And let's see, the gray one, 41.6 meters for Stash Dash. All right, the next thing that I'm going to show you, I need to try on. So I will be right back. All right, I had to stand up to show you my next one because I'm wearing it with a dress, so I think it helps to see a little bit. This is a completely improvised top that I made out of Lion Brand Re-Up recycled cotton yarn, which is one of my favorites. I had quite a bit left in stash in these various kind of rainbow colors, and I couldn't bear to have it all just go into cozies and dishcloths and things like that, because I just think it's a really beautiful yarn. And so I made this top. I started by making the granny squares and then kind of pieced this part together, made the shoulders with some stripes, and then went over the back and did granny stripes on the back. I will tell you that obviously it's a little bit heavy because it's kitchen cotton yarn, and it is great. I love it over this dress. I think it's really fun. I do think I would like to make it a little wider or a little bit longer. I don't have any more of the cream, so that was kind of my limitation. And so ideally I would add like another 3 blocks down here, but I can't do that. So I think what I might do is just rip out this little picot gray border that I did, add some more stripes because I still have some more yarn, and then make it a little longer. And then it would be a cute kind of crop top to wear with shorts and things over the summer. But I do love the look of it with this little dress. I think it's really fun. I like the fact that it's really oversized. How fun is the back? I really love it. So we will talk about meters in just a minute, but I just think this was such a fun improv experiment. If you've never done anything like this in crochet, I think crochet really lends itself to being able to kind of make things up as you go. You'd have to be just a little bit adventurous, but you can really just kind of keep making things bigger and wider and try stuff on as you go and figure it out. So I would definitely encourage you to do that if you haven't tried that before. All right, I hope you enjoyed that little try-on session there. The rainbow top used 719.7 meters for Stash Dash. All right, I just have one last project to share with you in today's video, which gets us to around half of the finished projects that I finished up this summer. And this is a bit of spinning that I did. I bought a couple of these Malabrigo Noob in the Kendome colorway. I love the color in these braids. I will tell you, I've not had a very enjoyable time spinning with it. I might actually go ahead and just de-stash some of these because a lot of it was sort of compressed and felted, and it really just was not an enjoyable experience. But I did very much enjoy using this, which is what I plied some of that with, Wool of the Andes Unspun Roving. This is the Arctic Pool colorway. I used a darker version of this. I think it was Delft Heather, which is a darker blue. And I did, because I knew I wasn't enjoying spinning that, I figured plying it with something else would mean that I could just get the project done and get those singles used up over the course of the summer. So I've got 3 braids to show you here. Here's the first one. This is a 2-ply, 410 yards, 104 grams. So this is a good single ply yarn. Let me just unloop this just in case maybe you can see it a little bit better. I do love the different tones that were in this and how they play with the blue. I'm really enjoying that. So that is the first skein. And then I've got 2 more. We've got another 2-ply. This is 48 grams, 133 yards. Very similar. These have all been washed. I wrap them around my nitty knotty, then I wash them. Then I count the wraps and measure the loop, and that's how I figure out my yardage. So I do always do that. That was one of the first things I really had to learn after I learned to spin, is that you really need to take your measurements after you wash it, because oftentimes your loop will be bigger, and when you wash it, it kind of springs down a little bit. And so you don't want to be counting on yards or meters that you don't have. It also would be an unfair number to add to my meterage totals. For Stash Dash, the way that the meters work is that you count every time you put the fiber through the orifice. So for a 2-ply, you multiply the total yardage by 3. For a 3-ply, you multiply it by 4, because when you're plying it, it's going back through the orifice. So we'll talk about numbers in a minute, but that got me a lot of meters. This is a 3-ply, 63 yards, 24 grams. This one I plied, so I had the blue, the Malabrigo, and then I had a whole bunch of singles on my bobbin that were like a natural, like tan taupey kind of color, which you can see really well in the middle there. I don't remember what it was, some kind of wool. I think it was natural undyed, and I think it looks great with this. So for those 3 skeins, I ended up with 1,563 meters towards my Stash Dash goal. So that is going to do it for this episode. I will put a link in the show notes to my Google spreadsheet, which lays out all of my projects. So if you want to see the details and the links to my Ravelry project pages, you can do that. You can also go to my website, downsellerstudio.com, and scroll through my recent blog posts to see pictures and links and other things from when I've talked about these projects on my audio podcast over the course of the summer. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to comment down below. If you like this video, please do go ahead and give it a thumbs up and maybe recommend it to a friend. And I will be back very soon with the second half of my finished objects from Stash Dash 2022. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.